Hey, thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who has a thing on his Patreon where I have like this tier where it's $50 and you get to pick what I review. And now I'm reviewing something totally different. And now for something completely different, what I'm going to be reviewing now. It was requested by Zane Kordic, I'll have to call it that way in my Yugoslavian house. But all right, I've kept you on tenterhooks too long. Tenterhooks? Tenterhooks, I think is what the expression is. What I'm going to be reviewing now is, I'm just going to put these words together, and they didn't make sense to me. Anime, music, videos. That's a thing. Now, I know what anime is. I know what music videos are. But apparently, there's a whole world of people who like edit movies together, like make video collages or something with anime and music. So for whatever reason, Zane wanted me to watch not one video, not two videos, like an entire, I don't know, performance of multiple. And it's much better as multiple because it's actually him tracing his career doing this thing. It's something totally new that I'd never experienced before. And what I think is interesting is that I did a video about mixtapes recently. And in that whole thing, I talked about how mixtapes are sort of a self-portrait. And this is sort of a double mixtape because it's a bunch of songs that he likes and a bunch of animes that he likes. Is that the plural of anime? So like both of them end up showing off something of himself, and then when he mixes them together, that shows something else new about himself. Anime, music, videos.
Anime, music, videos.
Anime, music, videos.
Anime, music, videos.
Anime, music, videos. Hello, everyone. Welcome to ABROGATE Need AMVs. I'm Zane Kordic. I'm going to show you some AMVs tonight. I've been editing anime music videos since 2018. It's my favorite thing to do. It's my main hobby. And as Professor Skye mentioned, this very eloquent intro, anime music videos are when you take pre-existing music and pre-existing Japanese animation and cut them together into something new. So I didn't make any of the music tonight, I didn't make any of the animation, but I'm going to try and make the argument that what I've made is a new expression that reflects aspects of myself and things I'm interested in. So, to start off, I called this thing ABROGATE Need AMVs. What does that mean? To explain that, I'm going to go back to last year, where I did my first show like this at a music venue called the Aviary here in Edmonton. At the Aviary, Phil is an incredible guy, and there I showed 10 of my early AMVs that I uploaded on my first channel that was called Prostrate Constantly. And so, prostrate constantly, okay, to prostrate yourself is to prostrate yourself in prayer and devotion. And those first 10 videos were kind of just cumulatively a portrait of a guy locking himself in his dorm room for 8 months to cut up footage from Japanese cartoons made for children. And so all my kind of videos started to reflect these kind of common concepts of what it means to fall in love with things that aren't real, and how anxiety gets put through in those things. And then I started to have ideas that didn't exactly fit that concept. And I thought, I still wanted to put those out there. And I think it's a good thing as an artist to kind of be a little more fluid with the image of yourself and what you create. And so I wanted to abrogate needs. So to abrogate yourself from something is to remove yourself from or evade something. So I was trying to remove myself from the need to fit into this kind of mold I built up for myself. So I made a second channel that I called Abrogate Need. And that's where a lot of these videos come from today. And that was kind of the guiding concept behind this show. And in doing so, I had a really hard time picking a first video to show tonight because the concept was a lack of concept in a weird way. So the first video I'm going to show is called The Dolphins. And it uses a song by the Greenwich Village folk singer Fred Neil, incredible singer-songwriter, mentor of Bob Dylan in the early days. And it uses an anime called Bobby's Girl, which is a short anime film from the 80s. It's beautiful, surprisingly experimental, and it's about a boy and a motorbike. And this video is a guy on a motorbike just driving. And the refrain of the song goes about searching for the dolphins in the sea. And so it felt like a fitting start, because the notion of abrogate need is kind of the notion of searching for things that you don't really understand, kind of driving without a destination. And I think that's healthy for an artist to do. There was this D.H. Lawrence quote I had prepped, but then I was rereading it and I was like, this is so pretentious. So to phrase it in normal human terms, it's just like, searching is cool to do. And with that, I present to you the Dolphins.
This old world may never change.
That was one of those videos I made because I'd be listening to the song on the LRT or whatever and being like, this is a vibe, and then I'd go home and just throw it over whatever footage. And then that night I'd be like, okay, these things are kind of clicking, putting together, and I'll put together a video, and I go to bed, and I wake up the next day and watch the video, and I was like, what the, this is garbage, what was that? There's no story, it's just a dude on a bike. And then I'd throw it in the recess of my hard drive, and then I looked at it like a few months later, and I was like, that wasn't bad. I was a bit of a vibe, I think something's going on there. So that's why I like having this channel, because I can kind of throw out things, maybe there's something there. And so with this next video is called Don't Be Scared. It's using the song Don't Be Scared by Yoko Ono. And you can show me 1,000 videos of Chuck Berry making faces at her. I don't care, Yoko Ono is one of the best modern music artists to me. You get it. And this uses footage from the movie Wolf Children by director Mamoru Hosoda. Amazing film. A film I did not expect to enjoy so much because I watched it during a marathon of Mamoru Hosoda films that I did with a friend that we did because we hated his new movie so deeply. Like, I saw his movie's called Belle. I saw it in a packed IMAX screening, and I had like white knuckle anger sitting in the theater. And everyone was like cheering, like, yo, this is awesome. I'm just like, I was not vibing. And so I wrote a review after calling the movie The Root of Human Evil. So then my friend flew out from Nova Scotia to here to help with AnimeCon, and we're like, well, what are we going to do with the next few days you're here after AnimeCon? We're like, well, obviously we're going to watch every Mamoru Hosoda movie because we hated this so much. It's going to be a gauntlet, we're going to hate it, it's going to be so funny. And then we started watching them, and they were all amazing, except for his new one. His new one's still bad. But like, we got to Wolf Children, and I was like, this is the most mature, nuanced, lively portrait of parenthood, self-realization, like all these just really beautiful, nuanced concepts. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm making an AMV now. I just felt the vibe. And I'd always wanted to make an AMV with this song by Yoko Ono, because she was at a kind of pivotal point in her life, right after John Lennon was assassinated. And to make a song with the refrain, don't be scared to love, when you've just lost the person that means the most to you in the world, that's powerful. And on top of that, to do it as a reggae love ballad while you're Yoko Ono, that's like, I gotta pay tribute, I just had to. So, don't be scared. and that was Don't Be Scared. In the movie, the children are half wolf and half children, and I only use the instances of that in here to symbolize like violent or insecure emotional states. Whatever, it's a long story. So, this next video is called Koishi, which is Japanese for I Miss You, and this uses the Studio Ghibli helmed Hayao Miyazaki film The Wind Rises, one of the high masterpieces of animation in my mind, along with the Mary Margaret O'Hara song, Dear Darling. You get it. Mary Margaret O'Hara is a fascinating, fascinating person, fascinating musician. She is the sister of comedian, actress Catherine O'Hara. I'm sure you're familiar with. She was the mom in Home Alone. She was on SCTV. She was in Beetlejuice. She's great. And yeah, her sister got a record deal with Virgin Records, probably kind of expecting a vanity project like the record company was, because it's this famous woman's sister. And instead they got like Tim Buckley 2.0 or something. Like, she just stretched the song form, made this crazy vocalization stuff, and it's so beautiful. And when this is one of her ballads, and when she does a ballad, she just means it, you can just feel it. And she's also just a fascinating person, because she said the first book that made sense to her was James Joyce's Ulysses. I don't know if she was lying, but honestly, through engaging with her stuff enough, I can kind of believe it, which is a crazy statement in itself. So with this video, as you can see with the what have you on the screen, I just deep fried this anime to hell. Like, it's crazy. And I wanted to do that because Studio Ghibli films are masterpieces of world-building animation, using all the tools to create a world to immerse in. So every shot in a Studio Ghibli film feels inseparable from this kind of tapestry they weave. And as an AMV creator, that's not good because I'm trying to abstract it to do something new with it. So I'll only really touch a Ghibli source if I can just destroy it. So with this, I applied this find edges filter that only preserved the edges that it could detect in a shot. And then on top of that, I deleted all the iframes, which are what update the pixels on the screen when a new shot comes in. So instead of things cutting, they flow into the movement of the next shot. And so the whole thing kind of became this organic moving painting, which I was really happy about because the woman in the story here is a painter. That's what happens in the first shot. And so it all felt right. And I was so happy to cut up The Wind Rises because the love story in that film has this sad, knowing loveliness that is just my favorite thing. I find it the most romantic thing in the world. And I was happy to make this weird looking video. And the Koishi, the title of this video, that comes from, there's 3 ways in Japanese to say, I miss you. The first one means, I miss you and I'll see you in a few hours later in the day. Second one is, I miss you and I'll see you in a few months, a few years. And the third one is, I miss you and I'll never see you again. And that's what Koishi means. So, watch Koishi.
And now your life stopped.
And with that, I conclude Act 1 of the ABROGATE AMVs saga. So those are the more conventional videos. And so what you just saw was the more conventional. So this next video is when I started getting into really multi-source stuff. So this video is called The Volume Integral, and it uses more video sources than I can name. There's like a David Max Fleischer short there, that's from Rent a Girlfriend, that's from Toby Hooper's Down Friday Street, there's a Death Grips music video mixed in there. And it's all set to the song There There by Radiohead, one of their best songs I think. And on top of that, there's a Philip Seymour Hoffman audio interview. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's maybe my favorite actor ever, meant a lot to me. And in particular, in this interview, he's talking about the character he plays in the film The Master, which is a movie that changed my life. It was one of the first really weird artsy movies I'd seen, and it just rocked me. And what he's describing in this interview is about his character's relationship to another character in the film. So his character is this kind of socially well-to-do, kind of social manipulator guy, but like he's well-adjusted in society. And he forms this deep bond, this deep friendship with this guy named Freddie, who is out to lunch. He makes moonshine out of like rubbing alcohol and stuff, and he like walks with this like hunch. He's out there. He's not fit into society, but yet Philip Seymour Hoffman's character really just resonates with this guy, and they make this deep connection. And that, to me, is very, kind of encompasses what this video means to me. Because this video came about because of an online friend I had that went by a lot of different nicknames online, but I always called them groups, and they'll always be groups to me. And I found them through the site Letterboxd, which some of the more movie aficionado people here probably know. And they would post these reviews that had ideas that I don't think any human being has conceptualized before or since. They would say like that Incredibles 2 was the ultimate fulfillment of Sergei Eisenstein's montage theory. Yeah, not wrong at all. And that Megan, like the Blumhouse horror film that came out last year, was the culmination of all of cinema that came before it. Like it was all building towards Megan, the robot doll movie. And I would read these reviews and be like, oh my god, get out of here. And then I would be walking around and be like, what did they say again? What was that? And I'd reread it and I was like, okay. Like, they would give it to me, this like stuff that I would have never thought of. And so I eventually reached out to them and we started messaging. And I worked up the courage to send them some of my videos. And they wrote these reviews that were just beautiful. Like, they were the most meaningful thing to me in the world. If you're creative, people saying they like your stuff is cool. It feels good. But when someone's like, the crossfade you did at 36 seconds was the coolest thing ever. You're like, do you notice that? That's what the video means to me now. Like, how did you even know? Like, you were like in my head. And I had that like 10 times per every video I would send groups. Like, it was crazy. They were just really on that same wavelength as me. And I was so excited about that. I felt really validated because early on, my AMVs weren't particularly popular in the AMV scene. I wonder why. It was just, I was a lot of steps, and I couldn't put them in like any experimental film scene, so like an AMV, like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. So I was always kind of felt in between, and when Bruce like gave me that level of respect, I felt just, I was on cloud nine. It was incredible. And Bruce made videos too. And Bruce's videos were just as out there as their Letterboxd reviews. Like, they would put like old silent films over like the Loud House cartoon with like Bible quotes over it and then jazz funk tying the whole thing together. I was like, wow, how did you even conceptualize this? And as an editor, I was like, how did you edit this good? With this idea, like the rhythm, the density of their cutting and stuff was just like nothing I'd ever seen. And so I would send groups back these long reviews, kind of like they were sending me. And I was glad that I hoped I could be that kind of validation for groups too. And groups would always be saying, Zane, you gotta start editing videos like me. You gotta broaden your sources. You gotta do some crazy stuff in there. And I was like, Bruce, I don't know if I can do that because that sounds just way out there. I was like, oh, come on. So eventually, when I was going into my last year of engineering, I was kind of felt like in an artistic rut. I was really anxious with school, kind of really, ramping up. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it. Well, I'll try the Bruce thing. And I started throwing random stuff, and then someone was like, oh, but this kind of works with this. And I started making all these insane connections. And then when I was done, I was like, no one's gonna get this, but I'll send it to Bruce. I sent it to Bruce, and Bruce sent me like the longest thing they'd ever sent me, talking about how meaningful his video was to them, how happy they were to see someone else doing their style, and they found all these really astute things that I didn't even realize because this video was just kind of just flowed out of me. And I was so happy that it seemed like I was really there for Bruce in the way they were there for me. So I was really happy about that. And looking back at this video, this just feels like there's so many themes that kind of go into this video that feel a lot like how I felt about Bruce. And it's kind of bittersweet to look back at this video now because I don't know what happened to Bruce. They last messaged me last September, and then they haven't been online since. I've reached out to other people in the circles we've been in. No one knows where they went. So wherever Bruce is, I hope they're doing okay, and this one's for them.
And it's a mixture of I need to tame that because I can't bear this look at it. Because it's too pleasurable, but I also want to be a part of it. I think he really wants to be it. I think that was my thing playing the guy. I think he so desperately wants to be Fred. You know, but how can I be Fred? Fred is an animal. Fred is supposed to be judged, criticized, and fixed. But I still badly want to be him because that lives inside him. And you see it in the film very well.
volume integral. It's probably about as weird as the videos get here. Just say if your like quotient is like that, you can like barely handle that, that's about as weird as it gets. Also, to explain the title, volume integral, it's a mathematical function adding up a function in a 3D space. And there's an undercurrent of just kind of anxiety pulsing through that video, you can probably tell. And I don't know, volume integral felt appropriate because it kind of felt like all these things that were just kind of bubbling up inside of me, and I was just adding them up and kind of just exploding them out. And so, speaking of mathematical functions, we have the second in the mathematical function or related thing abrogating series. This video is called the pointing vector. This video is inspired by two things that help me get out of that anxious funk that volume integral kind of captures. Well, okay, first of all, I'll say that this is set to the song Numb by U2. I don't listen to much U2, but this song really struck me for reasons I'll get into. And it's just, again, more sources I can count. I won't even get into it. There's like a footage of a car driver that I ripped off YouTube and stuff. Anyway, so the first thing got me out of the funk was taking transit to university. And the great thing about taking transit as opposed to driving is I could treat it as my designated reading time. I was like, I'm only going to read when I'm on the bus and LRT. Adults need designated reading time. This is something I've grown to really appreciate. And during that designated reading time, I was reading an unfilmed script by director Richard Kelly. One of my favorite directors, did Donnie Darko, Southland Hills, The Box, big movies for me. This was a script he tried to do as a follow-up to Donnie Darko, and it's called Bessie, and it's about a talking cow that brings about the apocalypse. And whoever didn't fund that movie is an idiot, because it would have been the greatest movie ever made. And what Richard Kelly does in his films, and especially in that script for me, maybe it was just the time when I read it, but Richard Kelly captures what it feels like to grow up drowned in media, just exposed to images, things all the time. For him, I think it was TV. For me, it's the internet. For I think a lot of people, it's the internet. That's why I think Richard Kelly was really ahead of his time. And in that Bessie script, the cow learns how to talk and then brings about the apocalypse through watching TV. And there's a lot of different elements. It's a very nuanced, hilarious, moving, just incredible screenplay. And I would read it every morning, and I would be like, I go to school, this sucks, and I would read Bessie, and I'm like, things ain't so bad. And that's the best thing art can do, ever. And so U2's Numb is featured as a music cue in the script, which is bad script form. You're not supposed to put copyrighted songs in a script because you might not get the rights and the script's all messed up. But Richard Kelly has such meaning behind the use of music in his films. I know it meant a lot for him to put that in the script. And when I heard it, it was like all these thoughts I had about Richard Kelly's films, about Bessie, all these things just kind of came together, and it just felt right. I was like, oh my God. And then I had that idea. I was like, I want to edit with this song. I want to create the feeling of Bessie, but in video form, because Richard Kelly never could. And so then the second thing came about that helped snap this thing to focus. So I took an electrodynamics course my last year at university. Yeah! So electrodynamics. And I was so scared of this course because the predecessor to it was called electrostatics. And it was the worst course of my entire degree by a comedic margin. I got an 8% on a midterm with a 90% average. I don't know what everyone else was reading. I was not reading that same book. I did not catch whatever they were pitching. And I mean, in particular, it was, you know, this electrostatics, it's like talking about electricity on the electron level, and I'm like, what does this mean? This is no practical thing. And the way that first professor taught it never connected to anything I thought was meaningful. But then for my electrodynamics course, which I was just dreading, I was not ready for, I had a Professor Frank Hageman. He's here tonight. I saw him in the lobby. He's here somewhere. Practical application. He used YouTube videos for the first time since someone in high school. Actually, the last teacher to use YouTube videos was a professor named Mr. Latte in high school, and he's here tonight too. Both these inspirations to me. And so in particular, Professor Frank Hageman made all this stuff make a lot of sense to me. And in particular, he talked about this thing called the Poynting vector. And that's this kind of high-level electrical concept where if you have a power source, like a battery, and a power load, like a light bulb, you can have a wire that would take electricity in its traditional like flow speed. Take an hour, a year, it's an insanely long wire. But if you have that battery and that light bulb next to each other, if you close the switch, you make that connection, the light turns on instantly, not as long as it takes to go through the wire. And that's because of something called the Poynting vector. And that is how we visualize it. It's the direction of where energy goes from source to load, and it just goes through free space based on the electromagnetic waves. And that is practical application. That's an interesting thing, but also it's kind of romantic because I think of these things I see, these images, all the cartoons and anime and TV I obsess over, and I feel something. I feel this pull of this thing I can't articulate. It doesn't make sense, but it's like my Poynting vector. It's whatever inspiration is. And then so in this video, when I heard about the concept of Poynting vector, I was like, that's it. That's what I feel being Bessie. That's what I feel watching Richard Kelly's films. That's what I feel with these AMVs I do. And so I use, you can see that's kind of like the electron flow thing from a Poynting vector video. And all the eyes in this video are of people, like celebrities or artists, or fictional concepts or characters that give me that pull, you know, that just felt right to include in this portrait of a Poynting vector. And that ended up being the concept of this video. So shout out Bessie, shout out Professor Frank Hageman, shout out Mr. Latte. Something that came to mind while watching that again on the big screen. Like, I use Ruby Glue, Has-Been Hotel, these things that are not artsy or cool to use. And I noticed that in like video essays or even some experimental films, when they use kind of more mainstream stuff like that, they use it as like a shorthand for like fast food media, the mainstream entertainment, something to be fought against. But for me, that stuff, those mainstream cartoons really inspired me. Ruby Glue shaped my aesthetic sensibilities deep down in some way. Watching Has-Been Hotel, I started seeing music videos in my head again in a way I hadn't in a long time. So when I use any source, I feel like using it respectfully, not negating it, using it for some reductive concept is important because art takes a lot of work. If you don't like something, you don't have to engage with it, or at the very least have some deep principled dislike for it, like I did with Bell, and that was totally justified. And no Bell tonight, who would have thought? Now enter phase 3, ABROGATE phase 3. I decided I had kind of done the huge multi-source crazy concept, and I need to strip it back again. And so we're back to the one song, one anime kind of mix. And this video is called Sleep is Death. And it uses the song Instant Death by the band Beastie Boys, and an anime called Cursed One Piece. And it's funny to me to make an AMV with the phrases Beastie Boys and One Piece in the tags, when this video is the exact opposite of what any of that would imply. Because Beastie Boys will fight for the party, and One Piece is like the fighting pirate anime, where like the song I used in this is this very uncharacteristic Beastie Boys track of Hello Nasty. It's the last track, and it's what Ad Rock talked about, some people he lost in his life, and it's just beautiful. It's kind of abstract, kind of ethereal song. The Beastie Boys are incredible. They're so good. And Cursed One Piece is about a cursed dress that is a one piece, so it has nothing to do with the anime One Piece. And I was excited to work with this here because Cursed One Piece is a ghost story. It's about something paranormal, this dress that comes into these young women's lives and messing with them. And I thought, well, what if you take a ghost story and then take out anything directly paranormal, so you're just left with the unease, the feeling of a presence. And I thought with this song that's about grief and death, that could become an interesting motif where there's something under the surface here and it becomes about an emotional journey rather than a literal kind of genre journey. And what this video kind of meaning to me was about what it means to go to school, to socialize, to even be alone when you have baggage and like things that weigh you down, like grief or trauma. And the title, Sleep is Death. On one hand, there's a lot of sleeping and an undercurrent of death in this video, but that's also the title of a game I used to be obsessed with by this indie game creator named Jason Roeder. And this game was really creative where it lets you, one person makes like a pixel art world with like characters and sprites and stuff, and then another person joins in that world as controlling one character, like the protagonist. And then together you take turns where the protagonist character does something, and then the other player has to react with something in the world. And then you take turns, and then you eventually make a story out of it using these frames. And you have to find a very special type of friend that's going to play the storybook pixel art game for hours with you. And I meet people from all around the world. I was young too. I was like 13, 14 when I discovered that game. And I met some people that were just the coolest people. Like the people who were willing to just be like, yeah, let's just make a story and just riff. It was awesome. And then when I was thinking of this video, I was like, that's almost like a neat metaphor for AMVs, where I'm just this one perspective, I'm controlling this one thing, and I'm playing off this world that someone has built up already, with both the music and the anime. And I'm just trying to make my own little narrative path through it. And I thought it was cool. And I think that's a good showcase with this video because I literally took this thing that was more literalized in the shows, the paranormal stuff, and turned it into a metaphor. So, again, I'm trying to make the art, but these are unique creative expressions. And With that, I present to you Sleep to Death. And that was Sleep is Death. This next video is called Vitreous Floaters, which is an in-joke, something like that. This uses the song Billy Not Really by Death Grips. And Death Grips, one of my all-time favorite music groups, really formative, really meant a lot. But they make pretty dense, abrasive, wild music. And I find it hard to meaningfully combine that with anime, because anime is usually pretty warm and inviting. So I had to go and find the maverick of abrasive anime, Hiroshi Harada, who is one of my biggest inspirations, incredible. And this is using two unreleased films of his, Horizon Blue and Zashikiro, which he's very liberal with uploading footage from it, like just test footage and stuff. So I had to kind of scavenge or hunt around different blogs, Twitter posts, Facebook, Vimeo, and I kind of assembled this using the stuff he posted. He posted like one 14-minute snippet of one of the films that is like a short film that would be like one of the greatest short films ever, but it's part of like a 2-hour film. It's going to be incredible. And I emailed him about these two films. So Horizon Blue, finished. He screened it in a few select Japanese cinemas in 2019. And then Zashikiro was not finished. So I emailed him saying, hey, I saw Horizon Blue showed. I'm here in Canada. I'd love to see it. When will we be able to see this? And him, or probably someone from his team, was like, oh yeah, don't worry. We plan a full international rollout of Horizon Blue and Zashikiro when they're both finished in 2030. So just wait till then. 2021, and I was like, 9 years, bro? And like he said it like nonchalant, but that's how he works. This guy's been working since the 80s. He hand animates his films mostly by himself. He has a small team, self-funds his films, and then makes them over the course of like 10 years, and he just drops them whenever he feels like it. And it's like, you're the GOAT, like I'm in reverence. And his films are intense. Like they have intense violence, bad things happening. And I was always asked, how is this guy one of your favorites when usually the movies I like are pretty happy. Like, I don't know, people know me, I'm a pretty upbeat guy. And but there's something in his films, I could never describe it. When I watch films, they hit something deep. And I kind of started to formulate this concept, I'm thinking about this video, that tragedy is not bad things happening. Tragedy is how you respond to it. And in all of Harada's films, insanely bad shit happens all the time. It's like a rule. And yet the characters always get up, and it's never romantic. It's never this big triumphant thing. They just get up and they keep going. And I'm like, that's powerful. Like, that's something that you just need sometimes. You just need the people who get up and keep going. And in particular with these films, what I think is really inspiring with Harada is he used to be this dude who was just animating in his room by himself, and he would make these kind of films about how he got bullied, and then he would always have like his self-insert character be this like disfigured, usually one-eyed guy who just bad shit was happening to him all the time. And then he posted this write-up on his website about these films that at a certain point he ended up going out more, and he went and joined this theater troupe, and he met this woman in this theater troupe that changed his life. He had a deep personal connection with her, and he realized that the female characters in his films, and really everyone but the main character, was not really developed. It was kind of these self-portraits, which is valuable, but he was never connecting his pain to the people around him. And then he started talking to this woman who he thought was this well-adjusted person. He was like, man, your life is rough too. Like, you've got crazy shit to do. And so then he started to be like, people are in the same boat as me, you know? And these films in particular, from what I've seen, are these really powerful portraits of people that are not like Harada, but are going through stuff, and he captures their pain with the same nuance and feeling that he captures his own. I think that's really mature. That's why Roshi Harada is always one of the GOATs for me, and I hope you enjoy Vitreous Splitters.
Cross my palm like blind cross etching. Palm mummified, cotton mirror filming. Bronze my palm now, all brown palm now. This is so video, it won't come near me. Treat me like a video, she scares me. Now, not really, not really. Now, not Billy, not really. have wonderful chocolate glass. Zulu song, them do the slab. Flick 'em up, it's oosh. Ooh, oosh. Venomous, crudeness, I mean, I'm exclusive. Flick 'em up, it's oosh. Ooh, oosh. Flick 'em up, it's I'm lost. She's going to tell it through the struggle, but West Johnny style. She's your experience. Whatever it's your own, no one's ever outside the norm. She'll be so self-enforced out. Whatever it's your own, she's your experience.
Also, I got to shout out, well, two things. First of all, there's so many cool little techniques that Hirohata uses to like save on money because he has like no budget, and so he'll like film animation cells like through water that he drips like ink drops in, or he'll like spray water over them. It's so cool. I love that kind of stuff. And also, in terms of Death Grips, Abrogate Lead is from a Death Grips lyric from their song Black Quarterback off the same album. It's incredible. So now. Heart Attack and Lunch is next. It's a video I made using the song The Place Where He Inserted the Blade by Black Country New Road. We're a new band that have blown me away. They are so good, and it's so exciting to see a band that's releasing stuff now. They're coming out and you can just tell they're real. Like you could feel it, and it's exciting that they're still going and they're still killing it. And this uses footage from the films of the rebuild of Evangelion, which is a remake kind of series, kind of sequel to Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is this Maverick anime series from the 90s. And Evangelion as a whole franchise is the piece of media I've engaged with the most by a huge margin. I'm obsessed with it, it's my favorite thing. And I was really excited to edit with it here and make this big, sappy, romantic video with it. And the whole thing just makes me happy because it reminds me of this memory where I went and saw Black Country New Road live in Boston. I flew out, and I was so excited that I printed out these business cards that are actually in the lobby with a QR code linking to this video. And I was like, if there's anywhere people are going to like Black Country New Road, it's going to be at the concert. So of course they want to see my video. And then I get there, I'm standing in line, and I'm just like, no one wants to see my video. I'm so scared. I'm not going to hand over the card to anyone. I like no one. Yeah. And so I showed up super early. I just stood in line just quietly, go inside, and then I go right to the front, and I'm there with this other guy. And so we start talking. He's so cool. He's like this indie filmmaker. He's there with his girlfriend. He's super excited. And at some point, I'm just like, if I'm going to give the card to anyone, I'm already in conversation with this guy, so I timidly pull my card, like, you want to see my video? And he's like, you made a video with the song? That's so hype, dude! And then he turns to his girlfriend, he's like, yo, we are watching this immediately, this is so hype. And he's like so excited about it, and other people start being like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, oh, I got these cards. And I'm like, I started handing it out to the people around, and I was like, this is cool. And then the guy that I first handed it to turns to me and is like, look at this. And he holds up a baseball, and I'm like, oh yeah? And then he's like, no, look, it's branded Black Country New Road. So he had an official Black Country New Road branded baseball. And they're like this kind of indie, kind of internet band. I don't know how he got that. It was like real. And I was like, cool, dude. And he's like, I'm gonna get this signed after the show, it's gonna be awesome. I'm like, that would be awesome. And so then Black Country New Road plays their show, incredible, amazing, life-changing. And then afterwards they're playing the way their instruments, and then he starts waving the baseball. He's like, yo, sign this, sign this! So then the guitarist finally comes over, and he like hands her the Sharpie and stuff, and she signs it, and then he's like, also take this! And then he hands her my card, and he's like, this guy made a music video for you, and it's awesome! And I'm like, yeah! And then she's like, okay, and then she walks away with it, and gives it back to baseball. And I'm just like on cloud nine, I'm like, and I have no idea if they ever watched it, there's no call or anything, but there's a chance. And what that guy did to take that with faith to read that, I was over the moon. And so then, later on, earlier this year, because I went to Black Country New Road last year, we played one of the Evangelion movies here at Metro Cinema. And it was End of Evangelion, and I know that film has a credit sequence midway through, and the film continues. So it's almost like an intermission. And I was like, this is the time. So I pull up with my, like, 46 cards I still had left out of the 50 I printed. And so then during the thing, I go around and I start handing the cards to all the people sitting in their seats. And a few of them were like, no, I don't fucking want that. But for the most part, people reacted just like that guy. They were like, you made something? Oh, that's awesome. And I realized, like, why was I even nervous in the first place? I spent time with this video, I know it's good, and people respond to enthusiasm. So just putting yourself out there is gonna be good, because the people that don't get it are gonna be their own angry selves, and the people that do get it are gonna be hyped, and that's what's really matters.
Somehow, it was like a dream. It was like a dream. It was like a dream come true.
writing 2 album titles, Heart Attack and Vine by Tom Waits and Paradise and Lunch by Ry Cooder. And if you take out the other words that I did use there, you get Paradise and Vine, which is also kind of prescient images for that video, so that's just something to think about. This next video is a world premiere. I've never posted this video before. I just made this a couple weeks ago. I didn't even know I was gonna put it in this show, and then I was like, this fits. And it's a video called Beck, and it uses the anime Pompo the Cinephile, which I saw blindly on a limb a few years ago, and it blew my mind. It was like if anyone who knows me sees this movie, they're like, oh, they just made Zane the movie. Like, it is so presciently Zane. And it's about this guy who's a film editor, he edits stuff, and he's all, like, you know, kind of isolated and up in his own mind. And then he gets kind of thrown into directing a film, and then he kind of discovers this artistic community of collaborators, and learns to work together. And it's such a sweet, beautiful movie. And I was so excited about it. And I think it's important that I premiere it here at Metro Cinema, because that's kind of what Metro Cinema was to me, in the sense of this movie. Because I was this dude locking myself in my dorm, making these crazy videos. And then I started volunteering here on a limb, because I'd seen some movies here I really liked. And I started meeting all these people that were creative and cool. And I think there's this very distinctly Canadian sense of alienation that you get growing up watching media that's 90% of the time made somewhere else. And it kind of makes you feel like the creative happening stuff is not here. And I kind of developed that complex. But then when I started going to Metro Cinema with the local artists they have shown in the lobby, with the photography and painting, with the homegrown cinema they show here, where you actually get to meet the filmmakers, who are some of the coolest people I've ever met, when you get the music docs at the end of the month, where the local bands play, it's like, there's cool shit happening in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Like, that's a crazy concept. I never thought of that growing up, and I'm so happy that volunteering here, meeting all the people at Metro Cinema, that I've learned that. And yeah. Shout out Metro Cinema. This video uses the song It's About Time by the Beastie Boys. Or, no, the Beach Boys. Different band. I knew it was going to happen. And it's a surprisingly spiritual song for the Beach Boys. And it's just beautiful. I love this song. It's about that feeling of being creatively enlightened through others. And I think that's what art's all about, baby. So, Steve Beck. steam beck means it's like a film editing bay. They use it a lot in the Cassavetes book I was reading, and John Cassavetes is the GOAT. And hell yeah. And I just like that word, steam beck, and it just felt light and up, and it's about film, so I thought it was good to use there. And this last video of the night, is a video called Hope, and it uses the Vampire Weekend song of the same name, Hope, off their new album, Only God Was Above Us. And that album just came out this year, and it blew my goddamn mind. I was not expecting Vampire Weekend of all bands to drop an all-timer album in 2024. It was madness. And I've been so, the same with Black Country Road, I was so excited getting into new music. So I used to just be obsessed with the canon. I listened to Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Rolling Stones, Beatles, and great bands, great artists. But when something's happening now, there's something cool just being along with the flow. And it's like, if I was in the 60s and I was just listening to Louis Armstrong and Robert Johnson and stuff, it'd be great, but I'd be missing the Beatles, you know? And so it's like, it's good to broaden the horizons, and that's why I was so happy to start off this whole thing with that intro by music reviewer Professor Skye, who is just the best. He posts only positive reviews about new music that he enjoys, and he just gets deep into what he relates to in it, and he gets these human stories. He has this vast knowledge of French literature and history. He'll make you believe a Playboy party track is like referencing some like 1800s French thing. It's crazy, it's a genius. And so I was really happy with that because he really changed my life. He's what introduced me to this album. And this uses Evangelion again, this time End of Evangelion, which is from the old series before the remakes. And seeing End of Evangelion here when I was handing out my cards was just a spiritual experience. And what that film captures, End of Evangelion, about so many things, but in particular this kind of sad, knowing, apocalypse, beautiful thing. I don't have the words for it. And whenever you don't have the words for something, go read James Baldwin, because he will have said it better than you ever could dream to. And so I have this quote from James Baldwin that I want to preface this video with. You survive this, and in some terrible way, which I suppose no one can ever describe, you are compelled, you are corralled, you are bullwhipped into dealing with whatever it is that hurts you. And what is crucial here is that getting hurt is not what's important. Everybody's hurt. What is important, what corrals you, what bullwhips you, what drives you, torments you, is that you must find some way of using this to connect with everyone else alive. This is all you have to do it with. You must understand that your pain is trivial except insofar as you can use it to connect with other people's pain. And insofar as you can do that with your pain, you can be released from it, and then hopefully it works the other way around too. Insofar as I can tell you what it is to suffer, I can hopefully help you suffer less. Then you may, 15 years later, several thousand drinks later, 2 or 3 divorces, God knows how many broken friendships, an exile of one kind or another, some kind of breakthrough, which is your first articulation of who you are, which is to say, your first articulation of who you suspect we all are. And with that, I give you hope.
You and some
coming out tonight. Thank you to Metro Cinema. Thank you to everyone who's ever supported me with my AMVs. Everyone who I've been like, hey, watch this, and they've been like, okay. And yeah, thank you guys all so much for spending Friday night with me. Love you all.
And then every time